The Darrell Taylor hype train is hurtling towards the start of the 2021 season. In the 2020 NFL Draft, the Seahawks stuck and picked Jordan Brooks, the best player available on their board, and then Taylor was somehow available in the second round. He was their number one pass rush guy, and Pete Carroll said afterwards how they were sweating it out. Of course, the reason for a lot of the excitement regarding Taylor is he missed the entire 2020 season recovering from surgery on a fractured right leg. He ended up having to go through more surgery throughout the season and only started practicing in the playoffs. Now we've actually seen Taylor taking part in rookie minicamp, training camp, and the 24-year-old is ready to make a statement. Multiple Seahawks have already described Taylor as very explosive this offseason, and his get-off is visible even on the Seahawks' YouTube live streams of practice. That couples with his bendy college tape and impressive work in clear passing situations, which was already exciting enough. Head coach Pete Carroll said that Taylor was going to be working at strongside linebacker, and defensive coordinator Ken Norton Jr. said Taylor was going to be competing with a lot of other edge players like Benson Mayowa. It seems like the Sam and the Leo positions have been bucketed together as edges in this preseason, which is the skill set blend required for the Sam linebacker in this defense. If you remember, the 2020 season began with Bruce Servin as the Sam linebacker before he tore his ACL in week 1 of the season. The point is, Seattle wants more of a pass rusher at the Sam linebacker spot, especially when they're running Bear as one of their base defensive families, running it for over a third of their defensive plays in 2020. As I wrote at Seahawk Made, this defense is getting closer and closer to being a 3-4 defense in nature. Even without the Bear fronts, the Sam linebacker will still be down at the line of scrimmage a lot as a hammer in the run fit, and Seattle will get into reduced 4-3 looks for heavier personnel on occasion, like reduced under fronts for 21 personnel or reduced over fronts for 13 personnel. Taylor will still be expected to drop back into pass coverage though. He was 267 pounds at the NFL Combine, and though he told reporters May 14th that he's down to 245 pounds, he did say he was hoping to get up to 260 pounds for the 2021 NFL season. That may cause some concern, the thought of a big guy having to drop back into coverage. Now, as I said, Bruce Servin managed to do this okay, and this video is going to explain what's required of the Sam linebacker in coverage, and also look at Taylor's college reps, where he managed to show some reassuring coverage traits. Of course, the Seahawks are largely a cover 3 zone team. When they cover in this zone, they have 3 deep zones and 4 underneath zones. In this 3 deep, 4 under cover 3, the 3 linebackers and often the strong safety make up the 4 underneath zones. The underneath zones drop to an area on the field and vision the quarterback. They look for the football and break on it. The Seahawks are a landmark team until their indicators take them away from that. I'll explain that a bit later. The Sam linebacker in the defense, for the vast majority of cover 3 plays, is a buzz defender. He drops to the curl and then buzzes to the flats. Most of the time, this is an angle kind of drop, like a V shape, and his designated area or landmark is 8 to 10 yards back to the numbers. If the quarterback is looking outside of the Sam linebacker in the buzz zone, he would then push through the numbers. The Sam linebacker would also have to be aware of which receiver is threatening his leverage. With melting, they're taught to melt to their outermost or innermost with the quarterback's eyes. If the quarterback was looking away and the leverage threat was outside of the Sam linebacker still, that linebacker would have to settle and look for wheels. However, if the quarterback was looking away and the leverage threat was on the inside of the Sam linebacker, he would then be able to melt with the quarterback's eyes, which would see him step inside, but importantly not melt past a check down, so not melt past the leverage threat. That's how quarterback vision adjusts the zone, but the indicators can be pre- and post-snap elements, and these turn the spot drop coverage into more of a zone matching deal. These can be ramped up for certain game plans or adjustments. Formation, personnel, motions, down and distance, situation, and field position are all pre-snap examples of indicators. A post-snap example of an indicator for a buzz defender like a Sam linebacker would be the number 3 receiver going to the flat, which would see them push to and through the numbers. Another indicator for underneath defenders like the buzz defender would be quick game, so that would be a 1-step drop from the quarterback in the shotgun or a 1-step/3-step drop from under center. In this instance, the defender would push for fast width and not depth, looking to set up when the quarterback sets up. In order to make sure that these underneath defenders are aware of certain route combinations, the Seahawks talk in terms of issues. We actually heard Jordan Brooks talk about being aware of weak hook issues and being on the ball with that, which is an inside linebacker deal. But for the Sam linebacker, there are still buzz issues for them, which largely involve being vertically or horizontally stretched and conflicted. They want to defend deep to short and encourage and rally to checkdowns, eliminating explosive passes, and they really don't want to chase underneath routes or what they call take the cheese. Thankfully, Taylor's experience in college will serve him well when learning the coverage elements in Seattle. That's especially true in 2018 when, as part of Jeremy Pruitt's Tennessee defense, Taylor played a lot of the time as an outside linebacker in a 3-4 bear looking deal, similar to Seattle's bear system against Georgia on a 2nd and 2 with Taylor aligned into the boundary. When Seattle was running cover 3 from their bare fronts, most of the time they had the Leo pass rusher aligned to the field and the Sam into the boundary, just like Taylor is here. You can see post motion he's aware enough to adjust his alignment into more of an apex position because of the 2 wide receivers. Seattle has this adjustment for the Sam linebacker in their fronts called Mug Easy as well to loosen him up and put him in a better position. And you can see Taylor has enough movement skills and control and awareness to drop back into that buzz. It's nothing special, but it just shows he can do it. He's not completely lost. Seattle in their bare fronts will also ask their Sam linebacker to drop into a curl zone in cover 2. In this instance, the Leo aligns to the boundary and the Sam aligns to the field. His landmark is essentially dropping inside of the number 2 receiver. Again, we have a suitable Taylor example from the Georgia game on this 2nd and 6. Here he is aligned to the field, and he again loosens his alignment for the slot receiver, and he's comfortable dropping back and visioning the quarterback. Maybe you'd like him to get more depth, but it's the fact that he has the experience within this that is so comforting. He is also underneath the receiver if the quarterback were to throw, say, like a curl route towards that. Seattle in their 4-3 shaded fronts, the Sam will be asked to execute a field buzz drop. Taylor did that in college as well. Again, we've got the Georgia game on a 1st and 10. He's recognises them creating a slot once more. He's in that apex alignment, but still down at the line of scrimmage because that's how Tennessee wanted to do things. I like how he relates to the width of the running back, but also looks to one before flipping his hips to vision the quarterback. As I've said, Seattle will ramp up their indicators at times, say clear passing downs, to start visioning receivers more and the quarterback less. The Seahawks ask their buzz defenders against a slot to sometimes reroute to buy more time for the 3 deep guys. Taylor in the Georgia game was able to exhibit this skill on this 1st and 10. They asked him to do it versus a tight end. He's to the field once more, and his body positioning, the nice space, he tightens with the route well. He gets a nice pop on the route before widening. He has some balance issues after that transition, but I think that's more through an unfamiliarity of being asked to reroute players than it is a deeper issue than that. He also sees 3 to the flat, and he's aware that that's a threat. Finally, we have an example of the dreaded wheel route, with the deep third cornerback behind the buzz defender, mostly responsible for the vertical route of the number 1 receiver. There are situations where teams will run a post route to run off that cornerback and then a wheel route in behind to beat the coverage. We saw, for instance, Michael Kendricks have some issues with this, with teams running jet into post wheel and Kendrick coming up to play the run and then having a wheel route thrown in behind him. We also saw Seattle alleviate this conflict for Sam linebacker down at the line of scrimmage by having the boundary hook defender exchange into the buzz and carry the wheel route from the jet, and then putting the Sam free to then play the run and play a relatively low importance hook afterwards. One of the big indicators for the buzz defender is to play that wheel route and take 2 up and through their zone because the corner's not there. Taylor does have the college experience of this. On this 2nd and 10 with the ball inside Tennessee's red zone versus Florida, Taylor's aligned into the boundary versus pair tight ends and the running back. He sees 3 to the flat and matches it appropriately, widening his leverage and visioning the quarterback and then flipping his hips. He kind of knows the ball's not coming here after his quarterback vision, so it's a bit lackluster towards the end. But once more, that experience will serve him well in Seattle. I really look forward to seeing what Darrell Taylor can do in his first actual year of NFL football. I don't have that many concerns about him in coverage as a Sam linebacker for the reasons highlighted in this video. We also saw some very exciting things out of the Seahawks' mock game. Seattle even put Taylor at what was technically middle linebacker in an off-ball role, where they put him in the weak hook, and a big indicator in the weak hook versus a 3-by-1 formation is to match the 3 receiver up and back and be alert for a banana route or a special route. And Taylor looked really fluid and smooth doing this. Of course, as I said, his weight's gone down slightly, but he looks so comfortable and aware doing this that I don't really have that many concerns. Thanks for watching this YouTube video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for notifications of my latest upload. You can follow me on Twitter at MattyFBrown. You can also check my work out at Sports Illustrated's Seahawk Maven.